They hacked Fortune 500 companies, emptied bank accounts, and even breached classified government files. What were their motives? And how did the FBI track them down? This is the untold story of the most shocking cybercrimes in history. From ransomware attacks paralyzing hospitals to a teenager who almost started World War III, these cybercrime stories prove truth is stranger than fiction. It was an ordinary day at the Bangladesh Bank in early February 2016, until it wasn't. Unbeknownst to the staff, their systems had been quietly compromised by one of the most sophisticated hacking syndicates in the world, the Lazarus Group, allegedly backed by North Korea. Their goal? To steal nearly $1 billion in a single stroke. The heist began months earlier with a seemingly harmless phishing email. The hackers used malware to gain access to the bank's internal systems, laying in wait as they studied its operations, protocols, and vulnerabilities. For nearly a year, they watched silently, biding their time. On the evening of February 4th, 2016, the hackers made their move. Exploiting the SWIFT banking network, a system used globally for secure financial transactions, they initiated 35 fraudulent transfer requests, attempting to move nearly $1 billion to accounts in the Philippines and Sri Lanka. But the heist was almost too perfect. As the transactions proceeded, one small error, a typo in the name of a supposed recipient, Shalika Foundation, raised a red flag. A vigilant Deutsche Bank employee flagged the anomaly, stopping the remaining transfers and saving nearly $850 million. Despite this fortunate catch, the hackers still succeeded in siphoning off $81 million, funneling it through casinos in the Philippines to make the money virtually untraceable. The breach sent shockwaves through the financial world, forcing institutions to reevaluate their cybersecurity measures. Meanwhile, the FBI and Interpol launched a global investigation to trace the hackers and recover the stolen funds. To this day, much of the stolen money remains unaccounted for, and the perpetrators are believed to be operating freely. This case was more than a heist. It was a wake-up call for the vulnerabilities of global financial systems in the digital age. After the shockwaves of the Bangladesh bank heist reverberated around the globe, the world was forced to confront the vulnerabilities inherent in our digital systems. But not all cyber threats come from sophisticated syndicates. Sometimes even a single individual can shake the foundations of powerful institutions. In 2015, a 16-year-old from the UK, operating under the online alias Kraka, became a name that would forever haunt the intelligence community. This attack was unprecedented in scale and precision. The Lazarus Group demonstrated an extraordinary understanding of how global banking systems work and exploited even the smallest oversight. This teenager didn't just hack random systems. He breached the private accounts of some of the most powerful intelligence officials in the United States, including then CIA Director John Brennan. The story begins with a simple, yet deadly effective technique: social engineering. Kraka used publicly available information to impersonate an employee of Verizon, the telecommunications company that provided email services for the CIA director. Pretending to be a technician, he convinced Verizon to hand over critical details about Brennan's email account. With this, he gained access to the personal emails of one of the world's most powerful intelligence operatives. But Kraka didn't stop there. With the credentials in hand, he methodically combed through Brennan's emails, uncovering highly sensitive information, including a detailed application for top-secret security clearance and correspondence with senior officials. For most hackers, this would have been the endgame. For Kraka, it was just the beginning. Instead of remaining anonymous, Kraka escalated his cyber offensive by contacting media outlets and leaking parts of the stolen data. He also reached out directly to Brennan, taunting him with proof of the breach. In one recorded call, Kraka reportedly mocked the CIA director, saying, "You should take cybersecurity more seriously." The audacity was as shocking as the hack itself. And then Kraka turned his sights on other high-profile targets. Over the next few months, he hacked the accounts of the FBI, Deputy Director, and Department of Homeland Security officials. He even accessed sensitive law enforcement databases, releasing personal information about 20,000 FBI employees and 9,000 Department of Homeland Security staff members. These actions sent shockwaves through federal agencies. Kraka's success wasn't due to complex coding skills or advanced hacking tools. Instead, it was his mastery of psychological manipulation and his deep understanding of human error that made him so effective. His exploits served as a stark reminder that even the most secure systems are only as strong as the people using them. Despite his skill and audacity, Kraka was not invincible. The FBI, working with international law enforcement agencies, tracked him down using digital breadcrumbs he had unwittingly left behind. In October 2016, the teenager was arrested in the UK and later sentenced to a 2-year rehabilitation program. His real identity was never publicly disclosed due to his age. Kraka's story is more than just a tale of a teenager outsmarting the intelligence community. It's a case study in the vulnerabilities of even the most secure systems. While agencies worldwide have since bolstered their defenses, Kraka's actions exposed a harsh truth. The human element remains the weakest link in cybersecurity. To this day, the hack is a cautionary tale taught in cybersecurity courses worldwide. It reminds us that in the age of the internet, even a teenager in a small bedroom can wield the power to bring entire agencies to their knees. Kraka may have been caught, but his legacy continues to echo in the halls of intelligence agencies around the globe. And for the CIA, the breach wasn't just a moment of embarrassment. It was a wake-up call. Cybersecurity isn't just about firewalls and encryption. It's about vigilance, awareness, and understanding the mind of the attacker. Because in this game, one misstep can change everything. In the world of cybercrime, some hackers exploit systems and networks, but others target the most vulnerable system of all, the human heart. This is the story of one of the largest and most intricate romance scam operations ever uncovered, a scheme that stole millions of dollars from unsuspecting victims worldwide. It begins with a simple message. Hi, how are you? These words, sent through dating apps or social media platforms, were the bait used by scammers to lure their victims. They posed as charming, successful professionals, often using photos of attractive individuals in military uniforms or lavish settings. The goal was to create a bond, a relationship built entirely on deception. For weeks or even months, scammers would shower their victims with attention, crafting elaborate stories to gain their trust. They claimed to be doctors stationed in conflict zones, engineers working overseas, or wealthy business people tied up in international ventures. But every story had one thing in common: an impending crisis that required money to solve. One victim, a retired teacher, believed she was helping a U.S. soldier who needed funds to return home from deployment. Another, a widow, was convinced she was paying for medical bills after her online partner claimed to have been in a terrible accident. These stories were carefully designed to exploit the emotions of their targets: love, sympathy, and a desire to help. Over time, the requests for money became more frequent and larger in scale. Victims were asked to wire funds, purchase gift cards, or even open new bank accounts in their name. Many drained their savings, maxed out credit cards, or borrowed money to keep the illusion alive. By the time they realized they'd been scammed, it was often too late. The scale of this operation was staggering. One particular syndicate, operating out of West Africa, was responsible for defrauding thousands of victims across multiple continents. In just 2 years, this group funneled over $50 million through a network of mule accounts and money laundering operations. The FBI later referred to it as one of the most organized romance scam rings they'd ever encountered. The scam didn't only destroy finances, it shattered lives. Victims reported feelings of shame, embarrassment, and deep emotional betrayal. Many struggled to rebuild their trust in others, while some even faced legal trouble after unknowingly aiding in money laundering activities. The FBI's investigation into the operation was a race against time. Working with international partners, they identified key suspects through digital forensics and financial tracking. In 2019, a series of coordinated raids led to the arrest of 80 individuals, bringing an end to one of the largest romance scam networks in history. Yet the case was far from closed. While the arrests were a victory, the investigation revealed just how widespread and adaptable these scams had become. For every ring dismantled, countless others continued to operate, finding new ways to exploit the vulnerable. This case serves as a stark warning in the digital age. Love, while beautiful, can also be weaponized. Behind every romantic message or declaration of affection from a stranger online, there could be a scammer waiting to strike. And for the FBI, the fight against these schemes is an ongoing battle, one that requires constant vigilance and the cooperation of people around the world. Romance scams remind us that the most advanced cybercriminals don't always need to hack systems or write complex code. Sometimes, All it takes is understanding human emotion and exploiting it ruthlessly. The FBI's battle against cybercrime is fought not just with badges and warrants, but with cutting-edge technology and relentless determination. Cybercriminals often believe they are invisible, hidden behind layers of encryption and anonymity, but the FBI has developed methods to track them down, one digital breadcrumb at a time. It starts with understanding the tools and tactics of the attackers. Cybercriminals often leave behind subtle clues in their malware, phishing emails, or encrypted communications. These might be lines of code, IP addresses, or unique patterns in how they operate. FBI analysts pore over these details, building profiles that can identify individuals or entire syndicates. One of the FBI's most powerful tools is digital forensics. By analyzing seized devices, servers, and even logs from hacked systems, agents can reconstruct the sequence of events leading to a breach. This can include tracking how malware infiltrated a network, where stolen data was sent, and even the time zones the attackers operated in, small details that can point to their location. International cooperation is also crucial. Cybercrime knows no borders, and neither does the FBI's response. Agents work closely with Interpol, Europol, and local law enforcement agencies to share intelligence and coordinate operations. A single cybercriminal may operate from one country, target victims in another, and launder money through yet another, a challenge the FBI tackles with global partnerships. But perhaps the most important weapon in the FBI's arsenal is patience. Investigations into cybercrime can take months or even years, as agents follow complex trails of deception. Every breakthrough, whether it's cracking an encrypted file or identifying a suspect through a tiny mistake, is a step toward justice. Cybercriminals may think they're untouchable, but for the FBI, the pursuit is relentless. The message is clear. No matter how deep a hacker hides, the FBI is always watching. We've only scratched the surface of these 100 shocking cases. From Hollywood hacks to ransomware shutting down entire cities, the next stories will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about cybersecurity. If you enjoyed this dive into the FBI's Cybercrime Files, hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know which case shocked you the most.